What's good, no load time? Joel here. I am doing my video review today for Fast and Furious 10 or Fast 10, however you want to refer to it. It's the 10th film already in the Fast and Furious franchise. Yes, it's been going on for a long time, and they are clearly not yet done. There's plenty more Fast and Furious coming. For this review, I'll just be doing a non-spoilers part for the first 2-3 minutes, and then I'll give the thumbs up. I'll give a thumbs up when you see this. That means that then we're going to jump into the spoilers part, and so the rest of it we'll talk spoilers. But I want to do non-spoilers impressions right now for those of you that have not seen the film. You could hear this part when I put the thumbs up and drop out, and for those of you who have seen the movie, you can continue on with me. Those who haven't, come back, watch the rest of it at that time. All right, so let's talk non-spoilers. Overall impressions on the film, I gotta just be completely blunt. It's not good. I do feel bad saying it because, like these movies, a lot of people do really enjoy. That's why they've made so many of them. People just keep going out and watching them. People just keep, this franchise alive for a long time. And it's really a community-based thing worldwide. It does better, I think, internationally, I would say, probably than even domestically here in the United States. But just overall, there's a fandom for this. Like, you cannot deny it, right? But I'm sorry to tell you, this is not good. This movie's just not good at all. This film struggles with narrative issues. It struggles with just the overall dialogue that's going on. It struggles to continue to keep your interest level on outside of action, right? Like outside of the action in the cars. I feel like this is the kind of movie that if I was watching at home, there's plenty of scenes I would have probably just picked up my phone and maybe scroll through Instagram or TikTok, and then just kind of looked up when something cool started happening. And that's the thing. Like if it wasn't, I told someone else who was with me, like if it wasn't for the cars and some of the action sequences, I probably wouldn't have wanted to see this movie at all. To be completely honest with you, it just does not appeal to me, the other aspects. And I understand like they're trying to make this movie is like, oh, it's all about family, right? That's kind of been their push, like to try and make it more personal, and try and make it more something that people feel like there's these characters that everyone's just gonna love, similar to like a superhero franchise. But the goofiness, there's plenty of content that just does not work. Scenes that are completely unnecessary, that makes this 2.5 hour movie or 221 minutes just feel too long. So yeah, that's just my overall feeling. Sorry, got called like I see it. It just was not great. Let's talk spoilers though. So thumbs up, guys. If you have not seen Fast and Furious, we're gonna talk spoilers in 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. All right. So this movie, if you go just jumping right to the very end credit sequences, not end credits, sorry, just the very ending of the movie, right? We know that the movie ends off with Dominic Toretto and his son, little Brian, basically right outside the dam where, Jason Momoa's character's got these bombs about to go off and flood him to death. Because the whole point throughout the movie was that he wanted Toretto to suffer before letting him die. Like, he's like, death is not what I really want for him just yet. I first want him to suffer the way I did, and then I want him to die. So clearly he gets frustrated with, it's not really, he doesn't really get Toretto to really suffer that much, aside from what we believe to be, come on, we all know it's not the case, but, seeing that some of his friends in the plane, crash and assume that they're all dead. We know they're not dead. Come on, I'm not buying that for a second. But that was, I guess, supposed to be like the last bit of suffering, that Toretto was supposed to face, But now we're at that point where I think he's just like, all right, I know I'm not gonna really get what I want, so I'm just gonna kill this guy, right? Like I've had enough fun playing my games. So yeah, the whole bombs that are put all around the dam, and they're basically leveraging the God's Eye device, right, to be able to directly power this thing. That's how I interpreted it. Um, I imagine that most likely the team is going to probably get free and Tess is probably going to be able to jam the signals because you never actually see the bomb go off. You just see the red rings, deet, 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 going around. Gets like full flash of Tourette's face, like, oh my gosh, we're about to die and flood in. Um, but we never actually see an actual explosion. So that's why I don't think the explosion goes off. That's my theory. It's my theory. Uh, Next film, whew, I can't believe they're going to continue on, but next film, we'll see what happens, right? And that's the things, like, as much as I just roasted on it, like, that's the things that keep people coming back. Like, they do know how they waste, it feels like they waste a lot of time doing a lot of ridiculous stuff, but the way they bring you back is they're like, the story continues, the story continues. Do you want to see the story continue? And it almost feels like one of those like casual series that you would binge on a streaming service where it's like, I'm really not that invested in it. I don't really love it that much, but I've already put time in. Let's just complete the story. And someone like myself, I refer to myself really as a completionist. Like if I start something, I try to finish it. Unless it's like a series where I go, maybe I give my 3 rule episode, or after 3 episodes, if I really just don't care, I just stop watching. I digress. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But my point being is, like, as much as I just joked about like them narratively having a lot of issues, they do know how to do cliffhangers quite well, and they also know how to take these unrealistic superhero like moments and pull them into a way that you feel like there's gonna be this payoff in the end at the end, and there wasn't really. I don't want to say there was a disappointment from how it ended, because I actually think that was the right way to end if you are trying to continue this. I just think that they did a good job on closing the movie at the end. But it's just the stuff that goes on in the middle and the filler, some of the stuff I'm like, I don't get it. Like the whole sequence with Pete Davidson. Let's talk about it for a second. Some people probably love this guy. Good for you, but I mean that whole sequence, nothing came out of it. Like they go in, nothing happens. These guys fight each other, and then they walk out, and then we get to the Statham scene, right? Which is what it should just jumped right to. Why did we need that whole sequence? I understand you wanted to have a cameo of this guy. If you're gonna do a cameo, make it at least useful and written and factored in. Like, I think even like the Cardi B cameo in the last film probably actually worked out better than the Pete Davidson one, just because it was written in better. But remember, this is a movie that the director bailed on for various different creative differences, and with Vin Diesel, and so it was a different director that came in for this film. So, who knows what originally what might have been planned there, or how that even all came about. But yeah, so like moments like that is an example where I just don't care. If you're a big fan of the person, you love them, like, okay, you'll love it. But if you're just a casual person watching, you're like, why are we doing this whole scene? This makes zero sense. There's nothing about of it. It wasn't even that wasn't really that funny. Sorry. So then, like, but when you do get to like your action sequences, let's talk about Rome, right? That was probably one of the more, I mean, the whole movie, obviously, over the top, ridiculous action, but that was one of those ones that you just have to fully suspend, belief, and that, somehow Toretto is pushing around a bomb around Rome. I will say though, I did like the twist that it was a setup, and that these guys were being blackmailed to help Momoa's character. I did like how that was kind of used, because it would have not made sense. Like, why is it all of a sudden all these thugs, just joining with him to take down Toretto? Like, haven't they seen what has happened in the last 9 movies where that never works out? No, like, okay, so let's do it differently and let's just use blackmail. Sure, I can go with that. That works. That's fine. And so, like, I do, yeah, it's dark, but I mean, it's the villain, right? We're not cheering for this guy. We know he's a bad dude. We want to see him over with. So yeah, that was fine. Pushing around Rome, trying to take out the Vatican, raises the stakes. I heard a quote from Vin Diesel talking about how, like, the movie, now that Vin Diesel has a family, his mindset is more on like community. That's always been the whole thing, right? It's like family, family, family. But it is true. Like, I think now this man realizes, like, what is the world that he's leaving behind? What is the legacy he's leaving behind? And you're talking about things that outlive you, it becomes bigger than you. It doesn't become about you at that point. He could care less if he would have died. It was more so about the people and then what he was leaving behind to keep the world better. I could live with that. I think that's a little heroic. So yeah, like those are some parts that I actually I was okay with. Like that's good. That's fine. Best parts of the movie though, like in all seriousness, John Cena. John Cena is great in this movie. John Cena's scenes with little Brian, loved that. Could have just watched even more scenes of that. They could have filled in some of that just better, just because it was both comedic, it was fun, and just the chemistry that they had together is like it really did seem like Uncle Jacob, like this character, like he really was this guy was really close and really cared with him, and so I actually thought that was one of those surprising, really nice things that worked out in this movie. So that was a really strong suit. So yeah, what they did with John Cena, is he really dead? Spoilers. That's all we're talking spoilers right now. I don't think so. I think it's kind of similar to the next cameo that I'm gonna talk about, which is the Gal Gadot showing up. Like, let's be honest, we never saw Gal Gadot die. We've seen cars fly in this movie. Her coming back is not the craziest thing we've seen, which is why I say the same thing about John Cena, right? Like, so we can imagine from a creative standpoint at the time, if Gal Gadot was going to be playing Wonder Woman, she probably didn't have time to be also working on the Fast and Furious movies. So kind of writing her out instead of her character just disappearing because she was a main character in these movies. They kind of like let her have this like humble, closure moment where she just, falling out of the plane and saves Hans. I think that was just one of those things where they did leave an open door on purpose. I think they wanted to let it be a good send off. Like if she goes out that way, great. But if there's ever a chance for her to come back, which now we know there is, like it would be okay. We can believe it. So I think the same thing here with John, like the sacrifice for little Brian and for Dom, kind of felt unnecessary personally. Like I always feel like Toretto has another way around this, but they made it almost like there wasn't any other way, try to make you feel that way. But I also feel like this character Jacob wouldn't just have just done this out of the blue after the last episode, the last movie. How at each other's throats, each other's necks they both were, and then out of nowhere he doesn't know how to get ahead of these people. I feel like he would have another ace in the card. That's just how these movies are. It's how they make me feel. So yeah, nobody I really, none of the main characters I really believe that actually have died in this. I actually really believe are dead. Um, I'm just saying like that is whether that's the next movie or whether that's the third of the final trilogy of films that they're making right now. That some of these characters show up. I don't know. Love seeing the end credit scene with The Rock coming back. I know that a lot of fans have been asking for it. The Rock has had some stinkers recently. Get back to your roots. Let's be real, The Rock kind of saved the Fast and Furious franchise. They were struggling for a bit. When The Rock came back, it brought a sense of validity to the franchise, and a lot of people came back, started watching. Popularity started to increase again. Just makes sense. Get back to your roots of the Fast and Furious films. I think a lot of fans are really happy to see him there. I know it was spoiled beforehand for some of you that may have been seeing the articles online, but still, cool, cool. Yeah, so that's my overall thoughts on the movie. Definitely let me know what you guys think. Drop some comments down below. Also, make sure to share this video with your friends and family. Subscribe. Open and I are going to have a great podcast episode coming in this coming week. So make sure to subscribe and check that out. We've got plenty of more content to come. So stay tuned, stay with us, and we'll see ya next time.